This is Jason from Endif. Hi, Jason. He's agreed to spend a little time with us and answer a few questions that I have for him. So I'll go ahead and just get right into it. My first question is, it's been 3 years since Carbon was released, and I know that your listeners are chomping at the bit for more music.
Aren't they just?
I've read some places that you've been considering releasing a retrospective collection of past creations. Is this something that's still in the works?
Well, yeah, it's there. It's sitting on the hard drive. It's all still there. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with it. There's a lot of it. I've kind of been collecting things for the last however many years it's been, since like 92. You know, maybe it's on cassette, maybe it's on hard drive, or whatever it is. And I've just been kind of putting it all aside and letting it fester. And I kind of went through it all and, you know, recorded it all into live and try to make sense of it. And yeah, maybe we'll see.
Well, the way that I understand it, it's kind of like a bunch of journal entries as far as you playing along with the
really
machines that you have.
It's really a lot of what it's kind of like.
Right. Okay. Your collection of synths and other equipment include a number of analog pieces.
Yeah, one or two.
Since you began creating music, what are your thoughts on the growth and evolution of electronic music production? Do you think that anything is being lost in the translation now that music can be made so easily on a desktop computer?
Well, kind of. You know, I mean, there's really no pushback for quality anymore beyond what gets, you know, played locally or gets published, you know, on an actual physical label, or what gets published on a web label. I mean, really, there's the only barriers anymore. So, you know, there's local performance, there's mass performance, there's physical publishing, and there's web publishing. So there's really the only actual benefit or barriers anymore. So most of those aren't barriers. There's a lot of signal to noise ratio, but there's a lot of really great stuff coming out. So if you're willing to sift through it all, then you'll find some really awesome stuff. You know, control shift or waste or fractured transmission or Synsect or Endif for that matter. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that is, you know, really amazing, and you know, there's a lot of stuff that's crap, frankly, but it's really all about what you dig if you encounter it.
Okay.
The barriers have fallen, you know, for exposure, but you know, it's all about whether you glom onto it or not.
Okay, and you've stated that Skinny Puppy was a big influence for you when you began Endif in the 90s.
Sure.
What was in your Walkman before you discovered them? And do you have any guilty pleasures these days musically?
Well, what was in my Walkman was like Howard Jones or New Order or whatever, you know, just lots of synth pop and anything synthetic, basically.
You're a big Depeche Mode fan, aren't you?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love it. That's awesome.
Huge. You know, if I could still grow hair, I'd make the, you know, Martin Gore muffin top, but I can't. So. Boo genetics.
Has the internet as a form of music distribution helped or hindered the fringe?
All of the above. It really goes back to the previous question. There's no barrier. There is no barrier to publishing anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's really all about finding whether or not, you know, what you've made is useful for that, or they can be bullshit for that. You know, it really depends.
Your music is a textural soundscape, creation sculpted from the twisting of knobs and plugging of wires. It's been a way for you to discover new sounds and see what goes together. This isn't unlike jazz, where musicians explore beyond the bounds of the given scale and using a certain flowing dissonance in
jazz, however, focuses on notes.
Right.
Same idea, but with notes.
Well, okay, so there's a different concept and focus. But do you think that industrial could be as relevant as jazz for
it could be, but
someday?
Frankly, I don't think anyone really cares.
No.
I mean, there's a small subset of people that actually give a damn, and that's awesome. But I think that, you know, given, you know, parallel or not, I really don't think that people care anymore.
No.
I think that people mostly, you know, they mostly want their Black Eyed Peas and their, you know, their pap. They want their pap. So
pap?
Yeah, pablum, you know, very easily digested crap.
Oh, okay.
You know, it could be Black Eyed Peas, or it could be any number of other things that are vastly overplayed.
Okay. Since your songs are more about the sound and not necessarily derived from a particular emotion,
Sure.
I'm curious.
We actually kind of are. I mean,
Yeah.
everything derives from a moment, and
Sure.
and the moment had its own emotions. So
When you've described how your process works, though, you do a lot of it is about fiddling.
oh yeah, it's all about the fiddling.
All about
Each
fiddling.
fiddle has its own emotion.
Okay. All right. So I'm
So-
curious how you decide how to call each of your creations in the end.
Oh, like naming?
Mm-hmm.
The naming convention?
Yes.
Yeah, really it all kind of goes down to like one or two sounds. The core sound, whatever it was that made the whole thing happen. Churl, for example, was just based on one sound. I'll leave it to you to figure out which one.
It's audience participation.
Pretty much.
Okay, I can dig that. A while back, you helped create an artist-specific site called the Third Wave Collective. I know this has been asked a lot, but
Pretty
as
old.
a means for it was made as a means for musicians to communicate and collaborate via the web, and through this.
Pre-MySpace, pre-Facebook, pre-all of that. It's
Right.
the same basic idea. You
Mhm.
network with other musicians, and each of you pimps the other, and yourselves. And when you pimp the collective, you pimp each other and yourselves. And it was an aggregate.
Do you
really.
find that social networking sites today are fulfilling that?
Not in and of themselves, but within the frameworks that they've created, yes.
Okay.
They allow for that sort of thing, and that's why I've let even the domain Third Wave Collective is gone. I just let it lapse. I didn't because
I know. I tried going to the website.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like,
no, it's gone because there's no point anymore. I mean,
Right.
It's been supplanted. It's been superseded. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. Were there
Sure.
any last-minute comments that you'd like to add for our viewers at COMA?
Not really. Think for yourselves. Buy what you like. Seriously, buy it. Don't just download it.
Thank you so much.
Sure, man.